2 weeks ago, I thought.
I know we did sugar 2 weeks ago.
So?
But this is not sugar.
It looks like
dear
sugar.
Heart. This is salt. Believe it or not,
Oh.
this is 80 pounds of salt. This is what the average American consumes, and that's a whole lot. And I'm going over now to Darrell E. Scanlon and find out that it doesn't all come from the shaker. Good morning, Darrell E.
Good morning, Gary.
I cannot believe this.
Isn't this amazing? This nutritional battle cry, too much salt in the diet.
Well, yeah, if you eat that in one sitting, sure.
Well, hopefully not in one sitting, but over the course of a year.
All right, so if the average American has that, I mean, is that anywhere near what we need for our diets?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No. Come over here. Let me show you what we need. I'm going to show you the ABCs of salt.
All right.
Let's start with the nutritional requirements of salt. The body only needs, and this is really very amazing, we only need 1/4 of a teaspoon. That's all you need.
Per day?
Per day.
All
1/4
right.
of a teaspoon per day, which is 500 milligrams of salt. Now, what is recommended by the National Health Organizations and dietitians is that you consume no more than 1.5 teaspoons. That is the equivalent
It's hard to read those, isn't it? Yeah.
Of
also, the fact they're pointed toward us.
3,000 milligrams. This is 1.5 teaspoons.
Yeah.
3,000 milligrams. That is the upper limit of salt.
Okay.
Now, what most of us, that means all of us out there, you and I included, Gary, we're eating 3 teaspoons of salt. That's 6,000. That's 2 times what we should be eating.
Wow.
Because each teaspoon contains 2,000 milligrams of salt. So you can see how this can add up very easily.
Absolutely. But what about if you live in like a hot climate and you perspire a lot? It's very humid.
Well,
and so
certainly
forth, as opposed to a
you'd
cold
want to
climate.
have you'd want to have adequate salt in your diet, but you don't need to use the salt shaker.
Oh.
And most families out there know that you don't need to use the salt shaker. They've shaken the salt habit. But interestingly enough, 77% of the salt in that wheelbarrow comes from hidden sources.
Just in the food we buy and
Just in the
cook and
food.
eat? Okay.
Now, you and I both know that like dill pickles and sauerkraut is high in sodium, right? So we won't eat a lot of that.
Right.
But did you know, Gary, that when you are going to eat canned peas,
I would never eat those.
Well, good for you.
Huh?
You're very nutritionally aware. But for people who
That's not why I don't eat them.
doesn't like the
I
taste,
just
probably.
hate them.
But let me tell you that
What?
that canned peas are sorted in brine, which is salt, so that
Why? Why do they do that?
it's just how the manufacturers do it. And so that canned peas have 5 times the amount of salt that you'd find in a fresh pea. Better
right.
to eat a fresh pea.
Now, if you were to take the canned peas and wash them, would you take most of that away, or is it inside the little peas?
Well, it's inside the little pea, but you would reduce it probably by half.
All right.
Let's look at fruit. Now, would you think there's salt in this can of sliced peaches?
No, because it's sweet. It's syrupy.
Well, let me tell you that manufacturers, to remove the skin, they use lye. They put the fruit in lye, which has
serious?
salt in it. So there's a lot of salt in these canned peaches.
Lee,
What's
do
a
we
better
really
choice?
want to know this?
Well, I'm saying the better choice would be
Sure, it's
to eat the
fresh.
fresh peach, right? Salt is also used in the manufacture of food in a number of places. For instance, in this cake, as a leavening agent, gives it good volume, nice and springy. Salt. You're getting hits of salt here.
Huh.
Salt's used as a preservative, Gary, in this cured meat, so you get like sodium nitrite. Salt is also used as a thickener in this pudding and as an emulsifier in this non-dairy creamer. That kind of holds it all together. We also use it as a flavoring agent. In this soup, it's got 900 milligrams, which is a very salty soup.
Yeah.
Plus, it's got MSG in it.
Okay, so when we look in the back, we should look for the sodium content,
Definitely.
right?
Now, here's an example of looking at the sodium content. This food says light and healthy, which sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Closer observation, 860 milligrams of sodium. This is a high sodium food. It doesn't mean that you can't eat this. Occasionally is fine, but this happens to be high in salt.
All right, what's a good number to shoot for? What's a good target?
Good question. Under 500. 500 or less in
Milligrams.
your milligrams in a frozen dinner. 500 or less milligrams. Now, there's an interesting controversy raising on about iodized salt. Now, in the early 1900s, we needed iodized salt because the Midwest states they had soil that was low in iodine, so they were suffering from a lot of goiters, swelling in the front of the neck. No longer the case because they can buy food from all over the country now, and iodine is found in 2 foods that you're going to be very surprised about. Milk. Because dairy farmers They sterilize the milking equipment in iodine. It gets its way into the milk. We also have it in bread.
In bread as well. So
as
what
a
are you
dough
saying?
Softener.
That if you...
We don't need to use iodized salt.
Okay.
Better to buy plain salt. You don't need the iodized.
Okay.
Also, there's kosher salt, which is a little more coarse than regular salt, and there's sea salt, which has the same mineral content as regular salt. To help shake the salt habit, we've got salt alternatives. Here is a salt substitute, which has potassium chloride. You don't want to have aluminum in a salt substitute.
I can't really tell the difference when I use those, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, good.
No, I
think that's fantastic. Do you ever use any of the herbal combinations without any salt in
At
them?
the health food store, when I stop by there and have lunch every once in a while, I always use that, what is that stuff?
There's
one called
Mrs.
Spike
Dash.
or something.
Well, so there's also parsley patch, and this is Jamaican jerk. How about that?
Yeah, but I always feel like I fell in someone's old garden when I do it, but what the heck.
But it's a good way to shake that habit.
Okay, thank you, Dara Lee Scanlon, very much.
Thank
it's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Gary.
Nutritionist Dara Lee Scanlon.